Newspapers are an excellent way to track your ancestors throughout their lives. Have you investigated the society news to find out what your ancestors have been up to? Let's talk about some keyword combinations that you can use with your ancestors to find out what they've been up to. Now, your ancestors are like me and my fourth child. We're social butterflies, and we like to entertain and be entertained. So what kind of keyword socialization terms are you going to use? How about surname plus hostess? You can even try hosted, but for right now in our example, we're going to use hostess. Now, this entry comes from England for all of our UK viewers. I put in a surname plus hostess. And now we have a nice little dinner article from 1877. Members and friends met on Tuesday at the Swan and Rushes Infirmary Square and sat down to their annual dinner, which was provided in an excellent manner by the hostess, Mrs. Bennet. Now, that sounds like a Pride and Prejudice novel, but then you can find out all the details about the hostessing duties that Mrs. Bennet did. Another combination you can use is surname plus entertained. I entertained these people in my home. Let's find out what the newspapers have to offer. Now, in this example, we're using the surname Matthews and the word entertained. And in actuality, what's really great is there are lots of different stories about entertaining folks. So Miss Lucille Well entertained 6 guests. Mrs. T.B. French, women, remember, you might have to look for women under their husband's surname. Let's zoom in here that you could see that a little bit better. So Mrs. T.B. French entertained at a beautiful luncheon yesterday. And then she has Mrs. Charles G. Matthews. So Matthews attended an entertainment, but then we also have the Mrs. B.M. Boykin entertained 6 guests at a matinee. And then again, Mrs. Charles Matthews is attending. She's from Washington, D.C. And this paper is actually in Atlanta, Georgia. So don't limit yourselves to newspapers in places where you know your ancestor lived, but make sure you're researching the fan club as well. We like to celebrate things, and sometimes we celebrate those with gatherings. And your ancestor did the same. So let's see what the newspapers have to say with this keyword combination. So celebrated is a good term to use. Are you looking for the last name Morton and celebrated? There's a lot of things people can be celebrating. And this particular one, we see that at a dainty birthday party, Mrs. Mary Gay Morton, the dainty little daughter of Mr. and Mrs. John Morton, celebrated her 3rd birthday party. And this is from a newspaper in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Sometimes your ancestors did organizational socializing. They joined societies in groups. So sometimes you're going to find out what your ancestor was up to, not by their name, but by the organizations they participated in. So this time we're going to change our keywords just a little bit. And instead of using surname, we're going to use organization plus meeting. So our ancestors were part of groups. So Eastern Star is a group that my grandmother was a part of. This is from Columbus, Ohio in 1947. This is actually a meeting long before she was a member of the group, but you can see that you have the Corinthian chapter, you have Ganako Club, you have the Crown chapter and Mirror chapter. So you can trace the history of your organizations that your ancestors are a part of, and you might also be able to track down these groups and be able to find out what was in existence at that time and maybe contact the Eastern Star of Ohio group and say, hey, what do you know about the Corinthian chapter? So newspapers are a great gateway. So try the group and then the word meet or meeting. Sometimes your organizations like to have parties after the fact. Now, organization can also be substituted with school associations, fraternities. You get the idea. Type in an organization plus reunion to see what comes up. Now, sometimes you have to look for your organizations by initials. So this is the Grand Army of the Republic, often known as the GAR. These are former Union Civil War military individuals. And so here is GAR and Reunion, and this is a paper out of Kansas. And look, the masses flock to the Reunion. It is at Leavenworth has drawn upon the population of Ottawa to an extent that our streets wear a somewhat deserted appearance. So among those who went from Ottawa were C. Fetter and wife, L. J. Woodson. So sometimes you're going to be finding individuals listed with the Reunion, and you might not be able to pick it up because Connors, how would you know that you needed to put Connors in there? But by finding GAR and Reunion, you can find a lot of names here. Now, another great thing about Reunion searching is that you might find photos. Now, it's not the best photo in the world, but can you imagine if this is your ancestor right here, and that's the only picture you have of them. So pretty amazing things that you can find. So look for organization and reunion. Sometimes you're going to need to use some tricks to track down your surnames and the organizations and the social activities that they did. So be sure to check the link in the description for this blog post so you can make sure that you're finding everything there is to find in a newspaper about your ancestor. Was that a fun exercise or what? I want you to tell me in the comments other keyword combinations that you have tried to find out the social news about your ancestors. If you want more tips and tricks on how to research in newspapers, be sure to check out this playlist. And if you're ready for something new, check out this video.